International Chamber of Commerce, Atlanta, Georgia, presents the Presidential Business Investment Luncheon with the President of Ghana in the United States of America, bringing together two major economic forces to highlight the new business destination, Ghana, and its economic growth across the world. For a country with the most untapped natural resources, its new leader, His Excellency, President John Dramani Mahama, will make this all-important trip to meet with business executives in America in an attempt to project Ghana into a new economic height.
I want to thank you all for coming once again. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Your Excellency, we welcome you to the Investment Forum hosted by the Ghana International Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Ambassador, Mr. Daniel Ohinia Jacom, Ghana Ambassador to the United States, fellow government officials that are gathered here, investors, business owners, entrepreneurs, you name it. This is the moment, and we're going to kick it off right away.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, a round of applause for His Excellency. At this time, as the President prepares for his remarks, it is indeed my delight and pleasure to invite to our podium for this afternoon's occasion the Honorable Ghana Ambassador to the United States, Ambassador Daniel Ohinia Jacom.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, honorable ministers, distinguished guests, friends of the business community, good afternoon. First of all, we apologize for the slight delay in our being here with you, but we are very privileged and indeed happy to be amongst a group of investors that I believe have shown interest in Ghana and our development, and I want to be part of that experience. Let me be very brief. My role is to simply introduce some of the key members of our delegation, which has been in Atlanta for a couple of days, and before then, we have been in New York attending the General Assembly. I'll start from the extreme right. The Honorable Ayaraga, the Minister for Information and Media Relations, who has been with the President for all this time. The next is a very key member of the government, the Honorable Minister for Trade and Investment, Mr. Haruna Idrisu. I'm sure most of you know today is very easy to read and learn about personalities. I don't need, I think, to introduce our President. But let me give you a short history of who our President is. He's been a member of Parliament. He's been a Minister of State, responsible for communications, our Vice President, and now our President. It is indeed our pleasure that we present to you our President, who would like to make a few remarks so that we can engage the business and the commercial community here in Atlanta. Throughout the few days we've been here, we've been engaged with discussions with some other business personalities. It is our intention that as we connect with you, we'll be able to deepen the bilateral relationship between the various institutions. We are very much aware of the enormous potentials that Georgia, Atlanta in particular, holds. And so we are delighted to be amongst you. It is our expectation that following this luncheon, we'll be able to strengthen, expand, and deepen the bilateral commercial relationship between Ghana and, of course, the various institutions here represented this afternoon. So once again, without much ado, I'd like to invite the President of the Republic of Ghana to make a few remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Please resume your seats. Thank you very much. I guess I prefer this format, get the formal speeches out of the way, and then you can concentrate on the food and enjoy it better. So I'm going to be brief. I've been talking a lot over the last nearly 10 days or 11 days. I've given many speeches. I guess I can just recite them like a poem, but I'd just make a few remarks about my country, Ghana, and we can share lunch, and then maybe I'm sure there will be some interactive session where we can share some more information. All of you know Ghana. It's on the west coast of Africa. To the south, we have the Atlantic Ocean. To the north, we have Burkina Faso. To the east, we have Togo and Benin and Nigeria, and to the west, we have Cote d'Ivoire, and of course, Liberia and Sierra Leone in that direction. Ghana was the first sub-Saharan African country to gain independence from colonial rule, and for a long time became a beacon of the liberation struggle in Africa. And so Ghana became the headquarters for all the freedom fighters from all over the countries who carried Ghanaian passports and had a safe haven in Ghana, to be able to conduct their various struggles. From 1960, many other African countries joined Ghana and became independent. We continue to play our role in the liberation of the African continent until apartheid in South Africa was overthrown. From then on, Ghana was lost in the wilderness for quite a while. We, again, as a pioneer in Africa, pioneered coup d'etats. We promptly dispatched our first president in 1966, and after that followed a series of coup d'etats. People ask me, what accounts for Ghana's success? And I say simple. We had hit rock bottom. When you hit rock bottom, there's no further down you can go. The only direction to go is up. And so we've been climbing since then. Ghana, again, was the first, I guess, in Africa to return to structural adjustment. We embarked on an economic recovery program in 1984. And we've been implementing structural adjustments probably the longest in the world. We've been a good student of the IMF and World Bank, and sometimes we've been bad students of those two institutions. Our economy has been growing averagely since we started the economic recovery program. In the 80s, an average of 3 to 4%, but recently in the 2000s, we are hitting the upper 7% and 8%. In 2011, at the advent of Ghana's oil and gas industry, we posted the highest growth in the world of 14%. Currently, we grow averagely at about 8%, and it's our vision to maintain a growth of 8% continuously over the next 10 years or so. We believe that that would help us transit from being a lower middle income country into being a full middle income country. Ghana is just one of the success stories happening in Africa. I believe that Africa is emerging. Things are changed in Africa as a result of the long negative perception created in the international media about Africa. People still think that Africa is a basket case where all that happens is famine and hunger, children dying of starvation, wars and conflict and disease. Unfortunately, that is not the case. There are many success stories in Africa. Africa has turned around. And like I said in the UN, What Africa is seeking is not the sympathy of the rest of the world, but partnership and opportunity. And I believe that with that environment, Africa can stand on its own feet. Ghana is one of the countries showing the way with democracy and constitutional governance. In 1992, we adopted a new constitution, and we've never looked back since. I believe that the successes we are posting are the dividend of the democracy that our people, have grown since 1992. We have seen an expansion in GDP, and currently Ghana's GDP stands at some $40 billion and growing at 8% per annum averagely. And so we believe that we should be able to double the size of our gross domestic product over the next 7 years or so. And there are many sectors that are opening up. Like any country in transition, we have seen the service industry overtake agriculture. 3 years ago, the service sector became the largest contributor to GDP in Ghana. And so financial services, transport, tourism, ICT, communications are the largest sector currently contributing to Ghana's growth. Of course, agriculture is important and still is the backbone of our economy. Cocoa is our leading export, and Ghana's cocoa is placed as the best in the world, and so we earn a premium for cocoa coming from Ghana. One of the things we've tried to do in agriculture is to increase the value of what we export. We want to shift and diversify our economy and shift from being a primary produce exporter to a country that exports, processed goods, at least to the secondary and tertiary levels. And so we're looking to process more of our cocoa. We're opening a new gold refinery in Ghana to process some of our gold into refined gold and into jewelry for export. We're looking to build tourism on the back of gold. We were called the Gold Coast before. And so we should have a gold city that allows people to come into Ghana and shop for beautiful African gold jewelry. And so those are all programs we have on the drawing board. We're looking to process a lot of the natural products that we have. We are a big exporter of bauxite. Ghana is reputed to have the 5th largest reserve of bauxite in the world. And rather than export bauxite and import alumina to feed aluminium smelter we have in Tema called Valco, we are looking to put in an alumina plant to process the bauxite to feed the aluminium smelter we have and export alumina rather than raw bauxite. And so that's a project we're working on. We're looking to place Ghana in a position where it becomes the biggest exporter of power in the sub-region. Ghana has a comparative advantage for production of power from the immediate post-independence era when we collaborated with the United States of America, President Kwame Nkrumah and President John F. Kennedy, together with GHICC of USA, came out with a vision of a big hydropower plant on the Volta River, and as an off-taker of that power, they built the Valco smelter, aluminium smelter, which was owned by GHICC USA for a very long time. And so from that time, Ghana started to export power to Togo and Benin, our neighbors, and we have a comparative advantage to continue to do that and actually expand power exports. We're working closely with the United States of America on this. We executed a successful first Millennium Challenge Compact. I judge probably one of the best on the continent in terms of execution. It was completed on time, and all the projects were completed under the compact. And so naturally, it was not surprising when United States of America chose Ghana as one of the countries to implement a second compact. We're working on that second compact, and we're focused on energy production because we believe that going forward in Africa, the one factor that is going to constrain economic acceleration and development is the lack of energy. My own country went through a power crisis recently when the West African gas pipeline that brings gas from Nigeria, across 4 countries, Togo, Benin, and Ghana, and of course Nigeria itself, was disrupted. And so we have vowed never to find ourselves in that position again. And so we want to produce enough power not only to feed ourselves, but to export that power to other countries. So under the new MCC, we're working on both generation and distribution. And we're creating a power pack that allows independent power producers to come into public-private partnerships with us to set up power plants in Ghana using the huge reserves of gas we've discovered recently offshore to produce energy both for Ghanaian consumption and for export. We're collaborating with the US in the Partnership for Growth. We're part of AGWA, and we're also working together on the Feed the Future program to improve food security not only in Ghana but across the whole of Africa. And so that leads me to agriculture. It still is the second largest contributor to our GDP. And our main thrust in terms of food security in agriculture is the introduction of medium to large scale commercial agriculture and modernization of our agriculture. For a long time, our agriculture has been carried on the backs of smallholder farmers using the cutlass and the hoe to produce. And they produce mainly as subsistence farmers to feed themselves. And then if there was an excess, they took it to the market. Now we're encouraging young people and entrepreneurial-minded people to go into agriculture to produce basically to feed the market and for export. And so as part of our program with America on Feed the Future, we are introducing a project on commercial agriculture that is going to create medium to large-scale commercial farms. And the unique thing about it is these medium to large-scale commercial farms are going to register the small farmers all around them, and they'll become like nucleus farms, transferring technology and other knowledge to the small farmers and providing a market for their produce. And so when they have produced, the larger nucleus farms will buy the produce of them and send it to the market. We're looking to establish a commodity exchange to improve, marketing of agricultural products, and we're collaborating with a company, an American company, Bloomberg, to build agricultural warehousing across the country to be able to preserve food, all through the year. Our major intervention in agriculture is to increase productivity of our farmers, and so we're giving them improved seeds, we're giving them agro inputs, fertilizers, pesticides and herbicides at the right time in order that they can increase their productivity, even if they use the same acreage that they are used to. We're also increasing the amount of agriculture under irrigation so that our farmers would be able to crop year-round instead of once a year like they are used to doing. There's room for investment in agro-processing in terms of fruits, vegetables, and the whole agricultural value chain. We have a good export market in Europe, and Accra to any of the European capitals is a 6-hour flight. And so every night we are able to dispatch fresh vegetables, cut flowers and all that. And by morning when the European capitals are opening, these vegetables and flowers have arrived. And so there are good opportunities there. Africa still has 60% of the world's arable lands. And I believe that we can put more of those lands to agricultural production. Transport is another area of our interest. Our whole investment vision is to create Ghana as the hub for investments into West Africa. And so it's a hub and spoke kind of vision. Ghana's brand is a stable, secure democracy that is peaceful and provides safety. And so a lot of investors find it convenient to put up their regional offices in Ghana and use Ghana as a platform to reach out to the rest of the sub-region. And so that's the concept we're promoting. And we're doing it in all sectors. We want Ghana to be the energy hub of West Africa. We want Ghana to be the transport hub of West Africa. We want Ghana to be the petroleum refining hub of West Africa. And to just name, we want Ghana to be the financial services hub of West Africa. And so that's the idea we're promoting and hoping that we can get many investors to join us to be able to do this. To do this, we must develop the infrastructure to a good standard to attract investments. And so we realize that government on its own cannot leverage all the investment necessary to improve infrastructure. So we've come up with a new concept of public-private partnerships where we're able to concession out key economic and social infrastructure to investors to put their money in, operate over a period, and recoup their investment with profit. And so some of the major highways that have quite heavy traffic, we're looking to bring partners to develop those highways and toll them, put toll plazas, and escrow the amounts of money that come from using these roads to service whatever investment is put in. We're looking to expand our ports in order that more ships can come in. There's already growing traffic. When you take off from Accra, if you are lucky to be seated on the left side of the plane, just look out of your window, you see the Tema port, and you see a long queue of ships waiting to come in and offload their cargo. That is because we have landlocked neighbors, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, and they take a good proportion of their cargo through our port. And so we have to expand those ports so that the turnaround time for ships is much quicker. We are rehabilitating our railways. Currently, 95% of all transport in Ghana is by road, and we want to diversify that. And so we're rehabilitating our railways. We've started with the Western Railway Line. We began the procurement to put in the Western Railway Line from our second port city, which is Takoradi, to our second largest city in the middle of the country, Kumasi. And then we also have an Eastern Line, which comes from the premier port, Tema, to the middle of the country, Kumasi. And we're looking to extend that rail line to our northern border so that we can easily move goods to Burkina Faso and the northern part of the country along the rail line rather than move them by trucks as we currently do. So, all in all, I guess things are going well. Ghana's democracy has matured, and from 1992, we have been implementing constitutional governance and respect for human rights. We probably have one of the most vibrant and free media landscapes in the world, not in Africa, in the world. I dare say Ghana's media is more independent and free than even here in America. We have hundreds of radio stations and hundreds of newspapers, and journalists are free to publish anything. We have a very vibrant social media, and because of the Ghanaians in the diaspora and the need for a lot of information, the internet and websites are all abuzz with all kinds of information. And in the morning, the political talk shows are very heated. And I say that if you're president of Ghana, if you survive from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., those political talk shows, then you can enjoy the rest of your day. And so I believe that with that kind of platform, Ghana is poised to take on the world as a partner, and is open for business. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Ambassador. It's certainly an honor to have you talk to us about where Ghana is going next. I'm sure by the time we leave today, we'll have a new sense and a new feeling of what we're going to do going forward.
I believe His Excellency wrapped it up best by saying Ghana is indeed open for business, ladies and gentlemen. Please, another round of applause for His Excellency. And at this time, we are also open to have lunch and break bread a little bit. While we do that, and while the wonderful wait staff here at the Ritz-Carlton begins to serve us, there are a number of key business men and women here. His Excellency, we would like to take, Your Excellency rather, we would like to take this moment to have members who are among us to just briefly stand up, introduce themselves, and let you know a little bit about their interest in Ghana, the gateway of Africa. We do ask that your comments be brief to about 2 minutes, and so I'll let Paul kind of usher us in. For those, there are microphones on the table, but you know what, I think I'll just come on down and and greet you so that you can properly address His Excellency.
And when lunch is over with, we'll have a number of speakers come up as well. Ms. Lilia Postolashi from the board of World Trade Center. As we said earlier, Librium Investment Management will have something to say up here as well. Dr. Kofi Kwanjoni from Morehouse School of Medicine. And of course, Dennis Kimbrough, who we're expecting to join us here shortly, an author and professor at Clark Atlanta University. So, Bettina, if you would. Business owners here who have a response or two for what the president just said to us. If you're here and you'd like to say something, we have a gentleman in the corner over there, if you would, please.
I'll make my way there. And we want to give this opportunity again to, whether you're thinking about establishing a business or you already have a business established in Ghana, to just introduce yourself and your purpose to His Excellency and, of course, all the respected officials that we have here. Good afternoon, sir.
Concern, one of them is tourism. And when I lived in Ghana for 12 years, I felt strongly that more African Americans should see Ghana.
Our expansion into West Africa, and we're looking forward to expanding our business in the country of Ghana and look forward for continued relationships, and we welcome everyone here. Come visit the great state of Texas as well.
That's right, that's right. Tourism.
Yeah, I guess I talked about tourism in passing as part of the services industry, but let me say that tourism has been one of the fastest growing sectors in Ghana's economy. We've gone from less than 100,000 visitors a year to nearly 700,000 visitors a year currently, and still growing with a lot of potential. Because of Ghana's atmosphere and environment and the peace and safety, we're seeing tourism from all parts of the world, but also tourism from West Africa. A lot of our neighbors who don't have the kind of atmosphere we have, we're seeing them coming in, with their families, staying for a while and then going back. Especially from Nigeria, we're seeing a lot of Nigerian tourists. The flights are full from Lagos and Abuja on Fridays, and they're full from Accra to Lagos and Abuja on Mondays, going back. And so people just coming over the weekend and, stay and enjoy Accra's atmosphere and go back. We have a lot of opportunities in ecotourism. We have a beautiful eco park in the central region of Ghana called Kakum.
Government agencies in Ghana, such as finance, education, energy and petroleum, food and agriculture, transportation, water resources and housing have all expanded to attract growth and diversification, as well as the potential to encourage private sector trade and investment opportunities.
Please welcome Mr. Soda.
The goal of the Atlanta office of the Ghana International Chamber of Commerce is to reveal the seismic developments, positive margins, and capital gains from Ghana's international exchange.
I am so sorry. We had some dignitaries here that I really wanted to bring up too. I hope that we get to have a one-on-one with TBDR and Dr. Kofi Kwanjoni. After this, maybe we get to talk. Pro players, I hope we get to have a one-on-one. I'm very humble today. Let me begin by thanking all of the participants for this very fruitful luncheon, made possible because of His Excellency's clear vision for Ghana and also because of the excellent quality of the individuals in attendance here. I feel so privileged to have the opportunity to host such an occasion in the service of Ghana, the beautiful and tranquil country of my birth, and America, a fountain of inspiration. They say that leaders have to have a vision, and the greatest leaders have an internal vision. His Excellency, I thank you for having the vision, not only for the space you occupy, but the space others occupy. May I, at this point, thank the delegation from Ghana, the Ghana Embassy, Washington, D.C., Ambassador Daniel Ohene-Jekum. I've been bugging your phones back and forth. Mr. Jericho, to Mrs. Amos, Ms. Hazel, the President's Party, the companies represented here and the Ghanaians in the diaspora, as well as the other party too, for making it a peaceful transition. My dynamic team for the sleepless nights here in Atlanta in putting this together, and their amazing ability to adjust to all circumstances. Michael Aite, Israel Ameshi, Tope, Elubiosi, Sam Maitland Davis, and Juice Biggefellow, which is Julius Chum. My special giant, Lilia Postolachi, and Cream de la Crop, Ms. Pam Onyanyo. I remain convinced that we need to build upon the progress we have achieved in strengthening business relationships with Ghana. The first step in this direction is to inventory what is available for investors. The second is to look at common frameworks that are mutually beneficial. Third is we have to maintain momentum and ensure that commitments are met. This implies an ongoing role for monitoring the framework, which our colleagues at the ministries are constantly refining. I hold strongly the view that as Ghana continues to make transformative investments, we need to step up our efforts to show the value of what we are doing with evidence-based reporting on outcomes. Therefore, Ghana International Chamber of Commerce will offer its services to His Excellency, to the mission, so we can follow up on projects for investors that have come through the chambers. We will facilitate seamless and transparent transactions with consistency to eliminate bottlenecks. What is clearly needed now, however, is prioritizing the various areas of interest for emerging countries in Africa. The success of structural reforms and investment in emerging markets, such as Ghana's, can be greatly enhanced by support from partners in developed countries. And our principal role as Chamber is to be the platform for facilitating long-term and meaningful relationships for stakeholders on both sides. And in closing, if you would all be so kind as to indulge me, I would like to read a short quote taken from His Excellency's recently published book, My First Coup d'etat. And the quote reads as follows: "We plan our lives according to a dream that comes to us in our childhood, and we find that life alters our plans. And yet, at the end, from a rare height, we also see that our dream was our fate. It's just that Providence had other ideas as to how we would get there. Destiny plans a different route, or turns the dream around as if it were a riddle, and fulfills the dream in ways we couldn't have expected." For me, this school serves as a metaphor for this occasion that has brought us all here. As I reflect back on our initial vision and plan for this event, I can tell you without a doubt that the hands of Providence altered those plans in so many profound ways. Yet here we are, and here I am, so pleased and so humbled at the unexpected way that destiny has rendered this occasion successful. I feel that we are not here today in this gathering by chance, and it may very well be that the subtle hand of Providence has brought us together to be facilitators of each other's dreams. We at the Chambers envision a future of a shared prosperity for our two nations, so please support us in our efforts to manifest this dream into reality. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I have something else that I wanted to share. I think the world does not know that Ghana has super brands. And I was in Ghana, and I was given this book. And it's been my pillow, under my pillow, and everybody wants this book. I wanted to give this to His Excellency, and a commitment that we're trying to bring product from Ghana over here, too, to show the world what Ghana has to offer. So I'd like to give this to you.
Thank you, Matilda. It's such an honor to have worked with you. Now, talking about dreams, I had two, and today one of them has come true. As a little boy, I always had an ambition to do what I'm doing right now. And as I started doing it in my later years, I had the ambition to host something on the national grid. I'm also a very good hairstylist, and I'm not going to tell you how I got into that, but when I finally did, it hit me that there has to be a destination to that, and I made it a point that one day I'm going to get to trim the president's hair. And thankfully, yesterday the call finally came. They said the president is in town and looking very scruffy.
Oh.
And I would like to appreciate Ms. Dorcas, who initiated that. And obviously, when I walked in to take care of the president, you could imagine what the feeling was like. So, Your Excellency, I'm truly grateful again. You're welcome. And if you care to know, I'm now the official Atlanta-based resident barber of the president. And again, hosting this event is one of my very, very big dreams. And some of you may not know that this is my very first, but I appreciate you for your attention. And the third dream that came true is to co-present with a notable TV presenter who's also Ghanaian by everything, Ms. Bettina Boatinier from NBC Birmingham. I'm truly grateful and honored to have worked with you, and obviously for all of you who have come here to witness this forum.
Ghana has made a global impact, and for the GHICC, this forum has all the ingredients for growth and development.